the program to x-ray what may be the consideration, the elections, the implications, and what really shares with Nigeria in connectivity to the United States of America's re-election of President Trump. Thanks so much, Doctor, for joining us on the program this morning. How would you, in one word, how would you describe the election of the United States?
Fantastic.
Why would you say fantastic? Because there are those that are saying it's surprising to them and all of that.
When I say fantastic, I mean fantastic. In his word, in the whole of it, it is fantastic. When you look at the pre-election activities, you look at the activities that went through during the conduct of the election and the aftermath. It's just fantastic. It's just too good for my like.
I mean, because there are those that are really having a concern about the elections in Nigeria and that of the United States. We saw early voting. You know, people, essential workers like the observers, you know, the security agencies, the media, the participants. There were some peculiarities about the election, and we're having a concern. Can Nigeria continue to learn lessons? Are there lessons for Nigeria to see how we can get elections right? We've seen Kamala Harris last night congratulating Donald Trump. Very beautiful. Nobody's heading to court. Nobody's saying if you're hungry, get to the court. It looks so beautiful. Can we get that and jeopardize that in the country, Nigeria?
As a matter of fact, Comrade Mike, Nigeria is not yet prepared for any election. They are not yet prepared for any election. If they are prepared, they know what to do. If they are prepared, they know what to do. Those that were part of the election conduct in the United States of America, could you believe with me that there were some Nigerians among them? Nigerians are right here in the country that can conduct election as much as it took place in the United States of America the day before yesterday, as we all witnessed. But those in the winds of power, would they allow it be? Before election, there is a premonition of what should happen. We saw Trump saying that if he lost, he would concede defeat. Although he had done all he needed to do, but he still said that if he lost, he would concede defeat. That is not the case in Nigeria. In Nigeria, there is already a projection, and the people that are at the ends of power, they walk towards what they want to get. They walk towards expectations. So they don't allow the system to be. They don't allow the system to run. If today we have some patriotic individuals among the bourgeois, among the rulers, among the leaders that we have in this country, that we want to get it right, we'll definitely get it right. Like we saw happen in the United States of America, starting from the day before yesterday, running through yesterday, and as we are today. You know, before election, the parties, the opponents, they were attacking each other. And they understood that that was the rule of the game. During the election, they allowed the election to be smoothly. It went on smoothly. There was no idea of snatching ballot boxes. There was no idea of thugs coming with guns. There was no idea of go to court. Go to court and do whatever you want to do in court. Is it only in Nigeria that there are courts, that there are courtrooms? Are there not courtrooms in America? There are also courtrooms in America, but the Americans, they have worked up themselves to the level that they wouldn't need the courts to waste their time on election matters. That can still happen in Nigeria.
People build those structures in America, and that those that are having a concern. How do we begin to replicate that in the country? We look at economic issues we're having. That those that feel due to our economic situations, we are too vulnerable to imbibe the mood of the U.S. kind of election. Would you advise, would you say that Nigeria can imbibe the mood of the U.S. election, underscoring the fact that the hardship, the current economic hardship and the situations, corruption in the country may compromise that intentions?
Mr. Mike, how much was spent on beavers? How much was spent on beavers alone? The beavers machine that were deployed in the interest of the Nigerian elections.
Did it not work?
How much was deployed for it? About $500 billion. About 500 billion naira was deployed.
But it was used.
Beavers.
Was it not used for what? But was it not used during the election?
Used for what? When the local government election that just happened in Kogi, they boycotted the beavers.
There are no laws that have compared that states independent to use beavers for their local government elections.
Even if they wouldn't use beavers, and you look at beavers as something that is relevant, that's something that could be used to make us have a credible election, why won't you use it? Why won't you use it? So it is just the idea of the willpower, the mind, the residence of the minds of the people to do the correcting. If we make it up in our mind, economy is not the issue. There is money to put elections right. Like during the time of Babangida. During the time of Babangida, election was free and fair. When Professor Humphrey was led in the conduct of the election was free and fair, that led to the emergence of MKO Abiola as the winner. June 12 presidential election in 1993. You were born that time now, and you knew what happened that time. The election that time was credible, but the question was the mind of the chief helmsperson in Nigeria at that time. His projection, he wanted Tofa to win.
So what is hindering Nigeria from imbibing this? Because what is hindering Nigeria from imbibing, the culture of the practice of democracy in the United States?
Greed and self-aggrandizement.
Is it not from the followers too? Because the politicians will tell you, the expectation from my followers, the fact that I have to pay school fees for them, I have to do this for them, which are not from, like for instance, the National Assembly members will tell you, my job is make laws, oversight and all of that, but the expectation of my people is much, and that's the reason why I have to go extra mile. Are the followers also contributing to the situation?
No, not the followers. The leaders, they have everything. In some cases, you that you are the follower, you that are the followers, if the leaders now say, okay, do this thing, and you don't want to do it, some of the leaders may take away your life. They may take away your life. That is what we are facing in Nigeria. The leaders have everything. Anything the leaders want to do, that is what they get done. That is what they get done in Nigeria. So the rise and fall in this nation, Nigeria, depends on the leader, solely on the leaders.
I mean, we're looking at the fact that President Tinubu have extended congratulations to the United States. President Donald Trump, would you say we expect so much from them? Just as Nigeria may be expecting much from the president-elect of the country?
Well, extending a congratulatory message to the president-elect of the United States of America, what I would say is, others are doing it, why don't I do it? Why would you do that when you just joined BRICS? BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. These were the foundation members of BRICS. For economic purposes, you went and joined them, thinking you will be able to form a bloc that will be able to compete with NATO. They are daydreaming. America has gone too far. If you are not on the side of America, be prepared for stress. Be prepared for hypertension. The time you don't need it. Penultimate the election. I had, whether I don't know how true it was.
But recently, the United States are faced with inflation. They are faced with all of the insecurity challenges. The president was attacked. And that those are feels. It looks that all of those things that were never happening in the United States.
Those ones are not huge. They are not huge issues. They are not huge issues. Like when Trump won the election, you know, the ideas of so many people were what he was going to do to the world, not what he was going to do to the entire America. America has gone so far beyond the expectation of every Tom, Dick, and Harry. When somebody is clenching the position of the chief person who will go to the White House, they no longer think of what that person will do for America. They think of what that person will do for the whole world. Like if you listened very well to the discourse, what they were saying about Trump is, okay, Trump will be able to settle the war in Ukraine. He will be able to settle the war in the Middle East. They are looking outward to the entire whole world, not America anymore. Contrary-wise, when you think of Nigeria, when there is a president-elect in Nigeria, you think about how he will be able to handle hunger. You think of how he will be able to handle insecurity. You think of how he will be able to handle corruption. This is why there is a wide gap between us, Nigerians, and the United States of America. And it all depends on the willpower of those who are in authority. If we can get some that are patriotic, that think more about the country than themselves, we will soon be there. We will get to a point whereby when somebody is clenching the position of power, we'll be thinking of what that person will do to the whole world, not to Nigeria anymore.
Because those are really having a concern on the kind of leaders we must begin to have. Looking at what the US are always producing, you know, leaders who are probably also basing on the fact that they try to put America first. You know, looking at Nigeria, the expectations of our leaders, just as you rightly stated, comparing political parties, that those that fuse what we are practicing in Nigeria is not real political, you know, party movement in terms of ideology. The kind of leaders we breed from, you know, political parties. Do you feel that we still can get it right, looking at what may be happening in PDP, happening in Labour Party, happening in APC, and all of that major political parties in Nigeria, which, of course, we do not have a single party as candidate structure in Nigeria. We have to look at the fact that it's a consideration of what is obtainable in getting in respect to getting things right in terms of providing leadership in producing leaders in the country. What is your take and concern about that?
Mr. Mike, that is the problem we have in the Nigerian structure. In Nigeria, when people come to the helm of power, they think of how they can develop themselves. That is one major difference between us and America. When America comes up, he will think of how he can develop his own country. Leaders, most leaders in Nigeria are egocentric. They are not people-centric. They are not the country-centric. They are egocentric. How they can come and amass wealth and develop cells and look so bogus.
How do we tackle this?
So that people will be afraid of them. But little do they understand that the greater your country, the more protection you have. The more protection you have. In Nigeria, a governor in Nigeria can be richer than the president of the United States of America, when we talk in terms of wealth. But when we talk in terms of protection, power, military might, who are you to stand the US president? About 30 of the Nigerian presidents put together, they cannot stand the US president. Why? Because they have developed their country. Their country is their protection. But what we think about in Nigeria is our wealth is our protection. Yes, that wealth will be relevant as long as you are in Nigeria. But when you step outside the shores of Nigeria, you are as common as every other person. The president of the United States of America, anywhere he goes in this world, the fame is there, the glory is there, the majesty is there, because they have worked on their country and put their country there. But Nigeria, when we come up, we think on how to develop our persons. We think on how to develop ourselves. We are egocentric. The time we think of being country-centric, that is when we will begin to get it right, Mr. Mike.
Let's come back to the country. I mean, recently the president asked that all the cases be withdrawn from the courts in respect to unbad governance protesters, the minors who were arrested, and that those are really having concerns on if he has shown some humanitarian angle in approaching this issue. Can he also reflect this in respect to, the Nigeria state of economy, the Nigeria state of polity, and also looking at the fact that there are many outcry, because it looks that it's because people had criticized, the detention and the arrest of these minors, and that probably drew his attention to taking that action, which diverges from what the IGP are saying. The IGP are saying, no, these are not minors. What they did in the court was just, a caricature. So how do we begin to look at that? What's the comment first about that?
As a matter of fact, in our course of program, I have been a great critic of the present government. But the step that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in person of Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, has taken has shocked me. I never knew he would be able to take such a decision. It is the right path in the right direction. He surprised me, and this has begun to make me fall in love with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, most especially when his foot soldiers were saying things contrary, like the prosecuting counsel in court. What he was saying is that he was saying that those people were not minors. Those protesters were not minors, and we have eyes. We are seeing them, men looking at them. You would know that they are minors. And you are coming to say they are not minors. With my two eyes in place and all the features of my eyes in place, my retina duly working, you are coming to tell me that what I'm seeing are not minors. Turning white to become black. And the IGP The Inspector General of Police came and said that what happened in court were faked, that they were stage managed, that what happened was not real. You are coming to tell me that these children were not malnourished. When you, by not looking at them, the ribs were already coming out. You are coming to tell me that they were not malnourished? Coming to tell me that this thing, what happened in court was a stage management.
Does the action of the president contradict that?
By far now, if the president would move by what they were saying, he would have emphasized that the case should go on. But there was a swap divergence.
Will you call it a presidential pardon? Will you call it a presidential pardon?
Well, if they want to, but the area I want to talk about is that there was a divergence from the part of the prosecuting counsel and the IGP. The prosecuting counsel and the IGP were saying one thing, and the president was acting another thing entirely. The prosecuting counsel was saying that they were not minors. The president said no.
No, the reason I'm asking that is because that those are few. President might be aware of the fact that President might probably also share the sentiment of the IG, but I decided to go through the human angle in putting this thing to rest.
Not at all. Not
or
at
you
all.
Feel that
not at all.
The IG's defense
what really happened was a passionate reaction to what, or a passionate response to what happened in court.
But that's not the fact.
Not the fact. The president was really sure. He understood. He looked and he was really convinced that they were minors. And apart from that, he has also ordered an investigation into the activities of the policemen that arrested and detained those minors. Oh, didn't you hear it?
Would you feel that the presidency wasn't aware of the arrest?
I mean, he might not. Even if he was aware
the Grand Commander?
If he was aware of their arrest.
You know that there are those that are still being detained in other states.
I'm coming. If he was aware of the arrest, the nitty-gritty from step to step, he might not be aware. He might not be aware. If you arrest some people, they are not yet convicted. And they are yet standing trial. And you are torturing them. You are malnourishing them. This is not found in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is why he has ordered a probe into the activities of the law enforcement agent handling it. So, if you ask me a question, I will say that the president did very well by granting them pardon, if you want me to use that word, by letting go the case. It was a sharp divergence from the line of reasoning of the prosecuting counsel and the IGP. And I give kudos to the president for that. And if the president can extend a hand of fellowship in what he has done here to the hardship that people are facing, then he will make us to begin to talk better about him. My own appeal to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is to listen to the cries of the people. The suffering is just too much. Now, the hardship is just too much.
Now that we have
what he has done here can be extended to the area of hardship.
Yeah,
he will be the man of the year.
I think the president have also looked at that angle by reinstating a minister into the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Those are few the reason why some approach to humanitarian problems were not tackled was because the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs was in the news for a wrong reason. But now that we have a new minister, things probably might begin to take shape, because there's also ordered that the minors, that the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs also look at what they can do, in assisting these minors that have been released. In looking at the angle of the readiness, the ministers that have been changed, duties rescheduled for some of them.
Mr. Mike, I don't agree with you that what happened to these suspects were as a result of the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs that had not been.
But that ministry was crucial.
No. But if you arrest people, if you arrest somebody and you bring the person to the police, and you are keeping the person in the cell, is it the Minister of the Humanitarian?
No, I mean, I'm talking of hardship moving forward in addressing the issues of the concern. Of hardship, the hunger, because these people were, I don't mean they were engaged. I don't mean the young miners were engaged. They wouldn't have, been taken advantage of.
Is it the humanitarian ministry that will take care of people? The humanitarian ministry, if there's anything they will do, is highly infinitesimal. It's highly infinitesimal. Fuel is very, very crucial to the well-being of the generality of the citizens.
But they're not going back on that policy.
So if they don't go back, fine.
Are you calling for a reversal of the policy? Are you advocating for a reversal of the policy?
Any time T. At any time T. That is where my mind is.
But the president have explained that, it looks that we can't go back to the old days where people will be losing our resources.
If he makes up his mind not to go back, that does not scrap off our feelings and our aspirations.
But how do we live with the reality of the fact that subsidy is gone?
If subsidy is gone, let it go. We will still live. If God says we should live, we will still live. But
are you resorting to self-help?
What?
Are you resorting to self-help?
Self-help? How do you mean? How do you mean by self-help?
You are saying that you do not have hope again on the government, so you are trying to live based on how you can?
Why not? We will live. We will not die. It is not suffering that kills people. If you go to church, let me take your mind back to when Abraham, drove away Hagar and the small baby Ishmael. They went to the wilderness. Water to drink was an issue. And that young child was going to die. If it were suffering that would kill people, if it were hardship that would kill people, Israel wouldn't have been. You could suffer and God will not say, okay, no, you are not going to suffer. And let me take your mind back to this novel you read when you were in secondary school. The girls are not to blame. Written by Ola Orotimi. When there was a king called King Adetusa, the wife Ojuola, gave birth to a son called Adewale. And the priest came and prophesied that the child will kill his father and marry the mother. The king said, hey, this is a bad omen. Oh, come, messenger, take him to the forest and kill him there. The messenger took him to the forest. He had compassion on him. Instead of killing him, what did he do? He threw him into the forest and left. A child that was not up to 1 week. He was there until a hunter came and picked him.
What are the lessons for us?
The lesson for us is that hardship does not kill.
But we will begin to...
Hardship does not kill. No matter how much you suffer, if God says you are living, you are living. Nothing takes away your life. So the best way to go, let the president have mercy on the citizens.
So all of these reforms he's trying to take, and the fact that he has underscored the importance of where he's taking Nigeria to compared to where we're coming from. He looks at the country he inherited. He's explaining that he inherited a bad economy. And he's trying to face it. Are you not seeing in that direction? And Nigerians probably can't picture towards that direction. Or is there no hope at all on the no hope agenda?
If he inherited a bad economy, that does not mean that he should shred the Nigerian citizen into pieces before he governs Nigeria. Where Nigeria was before he came, Nigerians can still come back there. He could fix Nigeria, and another leader that is not like him can still come and run us into ruins. This was not how Nigeria was before the First Republic. This was not, and why we came here was as a result of leaders. We have visionary leaders and we have non-visionary leaders. Take your mind back to 1999, during the Second Republic, when Obasanjo came up. Do you know what he was doing? Can you still remember? He was traveling from one country to another to make them forgive us our debts. And I believe if what I'm saying is right, about $32 billion were forgiven Nigeria. And we started on a clean slate. What took us back here? Leaders. If things had continued on the platform where Obasanjo set us there, and people like Buhari did not come to get us into this mess.
But are those that also disagree with Obasanjo that his policies also and his template wasn't workable for the country?
Even if it was not working, if you give it to
a sustainable plan, developing a sustainable plan for Nigeria. Tinubu saying, I'm trying to develop that plan. We do not have a plan.
Yes.
We do not have a structure. I'm trying to set up a structure that can take us to the better days for sustainability. I don't know better about sustainability.
Structures. People can come.
Because government borrow every time. Buhari borrowed. Jonathan borrowed and all of that. Should we continue borrowing?
We shouldn't continue to borrow.
So how do we solve the problem?
You know what I'm saying? If what the president is doing now can be sustained, good, fine and good. What I'm trying to say is that because of differences in the nature of leaders that we have, what the president is doing now, there are some leaders that may come, because he's not going to be there forever. At most he will be there for 8 years. 1 year is already gone. Almost about 1.5 years is already gone. With about 6.5 years more.
Does it mean that before the 8 years or before the completion of 4 years things will get better?
So, what?
Does it mean that before the end of 4 years things will get better?
I don't know. But you were aware that the IMF
I was not aware.
Trying to say,
I was not aware.
Discussed it now that all these things that the president is doing before it pays off is about 10 years or 50 years. So that means it will not even pay off while he is there. Then why is trying to strain and stress everybody? If you must do it in bits. It's hitting us too hard. Is hitting us too hard. And if they're hitting us too hard, if the assurance is there that what is building is going to be sustained, then we're not okay. Let all of us tighten our belt. But with the way things have been going in Nigeria, you cannot assure yourself that the structures that will be put in place now would be sustained forever.
The lack of trust from past government, past leaders who probably had promised.
You don't know who may come. You don't know who may come. The next person that may come may not be a visionary leader like Tinubu. And you just discover that what he has done, straining everybody into stress, the person will come and mess it up and take us back to Egypt. You know that the children of Israel were living in Egypt. They came to the wilderness and said, okay, we want to go back. You will not go back to Egypt. That is what they are saying. Here we have the assurance that the structures that have been put in place are sustainable structures. That they can never be disturbed. And that will happen if and only if we are able to work on ourselves. Raise people that are patriotic, that whenever anybody comes there, he will know that yes, these are the structures that have been put in place. Let me be loyal to the structure for the sake of Nigeria and Nigerians. If we are sure of that, no problem. But you cannot be sure, because we know Tinubu We don't know the next person that may come. We don't know the next person that may come.
But even so, successfully, because there are those that are pointing to the Lagos state government, Lagos state as a template to some of those reformations that he undertook when he was a governor, that if you look at the Lagos today, it is sustainable. The ideas and the vision of the Lagos state is sustainable. And if he's trying to replicate that, but there are those that are questioning the capacity of people that are working with him, the capacity for them to deliver, because it looks like the president can do the job alone. Do you feel that reshuffling the cabinet was in the direction of getting things and solutions solved?
Look, you can't compare Lagos, that is a state, to the federation.
He had what to show that he has done it before compared to
other. The power of the federal government is something else. It's extraordinary. It's something else. When you are a governor of a state like in Lagos that is there now, the structures that he had put in place there, if there are people that are coming up and they are trying to doubt on the structures, the people that are readily on ground can raise an eyebrow and shout to the federal government. The federal government has a say on all the states of the federation. But now, what if you set up a structure at the federal level and another person comes and he begins to change it? Who will you report to? Who will you now say, okay, come and help us? So this is the structure, these are the structures that are on ground, or this person is trying to change it. Who will you cry to? That is what we are talking about. And about the reshufflement of the ministries, of the serving members of the ministry that he has done, if I cannot see any payoff from any area, at least the Minister of State for Health that has been deployed to education, I can laud him over that. Alausa, when he came, the useless policy by Maman, Tahir Maman, the former minister for education, who said that people should go to university if and only if they are 18 years of age. That is a useless policy. He came and he said, okay, the people are not comfortable with this. And as a leader, you must listen to the people. You must listen to the people. When Maman was there, he knew really that on issuing of that policy, people started complaining, including myself. I raised the eyebrow on air here in one of our programs. He did not listen. How won't you listen to the people? Democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And as you are going along, be listening to the people.
All right.
And Tinubu, again, what led to the cabinet reshuffle was that he listened to the people. What he did, he said that what he did had no personal premonition, that he listened to the people. And of course, it was very, very clear in the Ministry of Women Affairs. The workers there were visibly seen jubilating over the ouster of their former boss. So, as a minister, you should listen to the people. When Alao Sanam came, he said, no, majority of the people, they are not in tune with the policy. Let me now address this policy. Immediately he changed it. You can see the jubilation.
All right, Dr. Abo, thanks so much. Time will not permit us to exhaust all of that concern, but in a way, it's about, just as he had highlighted, the need for government to pay attention to the voices of the people, which is what is the beauty of democracy. It's an older statement. Thanks so much for sharing your thought and your insight on the program this morning.
You're welcome.
Up next will be the former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. A whole lot of concern about how we can get things right in respect to our country's relations with the United States of America. We'll bring that discussion shortly after the break. Please stay with us.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle with ASU
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.